So my wife bought this for me the other day. It's an electric chain saw sharpener. I think it sharpens the chains. And this, I believe, came from Harbor Freight. It's a Chicago Electric. These things are super inexpensive at Harbor Freight. I had been wanting one of these. I had seen them, a lot of people have used these online, and I have lots of hand sharpeners for chainsaws, but right now we have a lot of yard work to do outside. We're about to kind of do an ultimate makeover of our yard. So we have trees that have come down, and you know, my problem is I only have a few chains, and once the chain goes dull on the saw, I don't want to hurt the saw, so I just kind of stop. And I can make this a little easier to get out of the package. Anyway, so I don't ever get anything done because then I have to hand sharpen it, which takes time. You could do a little bit of hand sharpening kind of on the saw while you're out there, but you don't really get a super sharp chain without really putting the work and effort in. So what I'm hoping is that this chainsaw sharpener will answer all of my needs and get me back to work. Okay, so I think that this sharpener is pretty simple to use. On the back side here you have your power button, which will turn it on. And when you get it, you'll notice this cable is not attached. You have to kind of slide it through here, and then you just kind of screw it tight down below. And what this cable does is when you press it, it puts pressure on the chain to keep the chain from moving. So as you bring down your spinning wheel, it'll cut the chain at the right angle there. It has a little stopper that once you get the chain into place, and it will just kind of spin with these two knobbies. You want to adjust this. There's an adjustment on the back side of here so that it's just about where you're going to start cutting. I have mine adjusted just so that when I bring it down and touch it, it just moves it slightly. Once I hold the handle tight, it'll actually come down and cut that. I don't want to take off any more metal than I have to, because then I just wear down my chain faster. I have this set to 25 degrees. Most chains are going to be sharpened between 25 and 35 degrees unless you're doing a ripping chain, you're ripping down with the wood, then you might want to do a 10-degree chain. But this chain that I'm going to be sharpening today is just a consumer grade Husqvarna chain. And I say it's consumer grade. It's got the low kickback on it, which is probably safer for those of you who aren't used to using a heavier duty chainsaw. The low kickback chains will reduce the amount of kickback you get on the chainsaw, which could be dangerous if you're not ready for it. I do have on the chainsaw a more aggressive chain, so I'm going to sharpen both of these, and that way while I'm out there I could just swap out chains as one gets dull. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up, and again, you can basically just turn the chain with these two knobbies, and then when it gets to past the next point, back it up. And again, I'm just making sure, well, this is what's going the wrong way. Okay, so we'll roll it up to the next one. And I just make sure that it just barely moves it as I bring this down on top, because once I tighten that down, it'll do the cutting for me. Now, one more adjustment that you might want to make on this is how far down the blade will actually go. Right there, I think I went a little too far. So you've got a knob on the back side here that will allow you to adjust that up just a little bit. Well, I definitely think this little chainsaw sharpener makes it a lot easier. One of the things that I noticed on my first chain is that I was having trouble pulling it through the bar, and that chain just turned out, I tried filing in between the links and cleaning it up, but I think it's just too chewed up on the inside. So unfortunately I went through the whole process of sharpening that chain, and it turned out to be no good. But that chain was a consumer chain. Let me show you, there's well, it's on the bottom of the trash now, but you've got these little knobs in between the blades, and typically what you'll find in the low kickback chains is a larger knob there, and it's basically reducing the amount of cut that you're getting with the chainsaw as you go through the wood, but it's also reducing the amount of kickback that you can get from the chainsaw, so it doesn't come back and pop you in the face. So as long as you're wearing proper safety equipment and you're aware that chainsaws do kick, it shouldn't be a problem for you. But that chain I rarely ever use, and apparently the last time I did use it, I damaged it quite badly, so it's no longer usable. I do have this chain, which is now sharp. This is an Oregon chain, and it's more of I guess you would just say it's a professional chain. It's got a faster cut, more aggressive cut to it, so I prefer to use this chain anyway. If I could figure out what I do with my saw tool, I can put this thing back on here. I have like 10 of these things hanging up over there because I always lose them when I'm working on it. Let's see here. So yeah, I love it. It makes it a lot easier when you've got a larger chainsaw and you have a lot of links that you need to sharpen, because man, I hate doing it by hand. I'd like to get enough chains that as I'm out working and a chain gets dull, I could just switch out the chains. And I was hoping with this sharpener I'd be able to get both of my chains cleaned up and working right, but it looks like I'm still down to just one chain. So I'll place an order for some new chains. But I'm excited knowing that I can just come in here and listen, pop on some music and sharpen it up. Makes it so easy. I will say, you know, the cheapness factor of this Chicago Electric is noticeable when you're using it, but it does the job. And I think, you know, this is something that I'll end up using a lot, but I think it'll last. If you buy it from Harbor Freight, you can get a 2-year warranty, extended warranty put on it for $10. Might be worth it given the quality of the tool. I'll look and see if I can find one on Amazon. If I can, I'll put a link below. But great little tool, super fast sharpening, and it's accurate. You don't have to worry about holding the file in the right position and filing away at it. It's much faster. Like it.